Well, there's a new study that shows global prosperity has hit new highs, but it wasn't driven by the United States, which used to rank number 3 in 2007. Then we ranked number 10 in 2010. But in this particular report, we landed with a thud at number 17. Now, despite the ranking number 1 in business, the U.S. fell to 52nd in terms of safety and security, 32 in health. Two issues, of course, that bleed into this election, very key issues. Joining me now to discuss is Danielle DiMartino Booth and Liz Peek. Danielle, I'll start with you. I mean, listen, it's sort of a left-wing kind of thing, but the idea that we've gone at one point from 1 to 17 is a headline.
It certainly is, and if you look at the time frame that we've gone even from 10 to 17, that would really encompass the time that the Fed's easy money policies have been encouraging corporations to buy back their stock rather than investing it in the future, rather than growing payrolls, rather than expanding their businesses. And I think we're really starting to see some of the ramifications of that in declining prosperity. Charles?
Yeah, I think that's a great point. Listen, we talk about the consumer being 2/3 of the economy, but it has to be businesses building things and investing in things that really moves that needle, Liz.
Yeah, I actually disagree with almost all the tenets of this poll in the sense that they think business environment is fantastic here. I disagree with that. I think we've made it very difficult for people to start businesses, and that is where a lot of the wealth generation comes from. They think we're number 8 in education. I would say we're number 30 in education. They think we're number 52 in safety and security. I don't think the United States is that unsafe a place. But I have to say, for all those components being, I think, somewhat skewed, I think basically America has fallen behind. And by the way, that is why Donald Trump's message of making America great again really resonates. People know that we're not getting the job done, whether it's infrastructure investment or teaching our kids what they need to learn in school to compete in this environment, et cetera. We are not getting the job done, and I think people are aware of that.
I think also it's sort of the progressive mindset of going to the lowest common denominator. I remember years ago helping my son with homework and going on the internet and finding that every test there were 2 versions of it, an easy version or a hard version. He was getting the easy version. It really infuriated me, and I think that's what it all, higher minimum wage for less skills. I think we're on a path that this 17 is going to look good in a couple of years if we don't change it.
It is, and I'm really frightened about that, Charles. And when you bring up the whole idea of education and the fact that so many other countries have so much more committed to STEM, to the sciences and the technologies that help to raise up future generations of Americans, and we simply don't have that. We've got a lot of teachers' unions to contend with, but we don't have a lot of people investing time and resources, especially Congress, in improving our education system.
Liz, you mentioned Donald Trump. Do you like the combination of carrot and stick? In other words, when it comes to businesses that Danielle DiMartino Booth is talking about, because they're sitting on trillions of dollars. They have the stimulus that can turn this country around. How do we get them to put it to work? Again, we don't want them buying back their stock if they can build a factory, but do we get them by singling them out and punishing them for being overseas, or really focus on those, removing these regulations, removing the EPA, lowering taxes? Won't they naturally come in and say, okay, now we'll put money to work?
Capitalism works because business decisions are made for particular reasons that basically generate growth for the economy, right? What we have done is basically make it very injurious, or I would say this. The Obama administration has ladled onto our economy an enormous layer of uncertainty. Businesses will not invest if they are worried about what their future returns are going to look like, because they don't know if some mountain slide of new regulations are going to come down on their head.
After 7.5 years, you know it's going to come. You just don't know how much it's going to be.
But maybe they're hoarding their cash. Maybe they're battening down the hatches because this is one of the longest expansions in U.S. history, and what do we have to show for it? Except for a lot of, bonuses going up because of these buybacks. I go back to that.
I think one of the areas, as an example, that is really important for the next administration to get right is energy policy. Companies here and companies around the world look at the United States as a very, very affluent country in terms of energy resources. But the government has basically stepped in the way of that and made it clear that they want to shut down our hydrocarbons. Well, our power costs are 1/6 of what they are in Germany, which is why German companies are coming here. We have to make that work.
How many displaced energy workers would still be in business today if we passed the pipeline?
That makes us more competitive, too, with respect to manufacturing.
Absolutely.
Ladies, thank you both very much.